Let's talk about Dave Ramsey's 7 baby steps. Now, you probably already know who Dave Ramsey is. He's a very popular person when it comes on to personal finance and getting rid of debt. He has some very popular books and he has a strategy, a very popular strategy of getting yourself out of debt. Now, I'm actually a fan of Dave Ramsey. I really like some of the things that he talks about and his approach to debt in particular, but some of the things that he talks about, I don't really agree with them. But in this video, I'll be covering the 7 steps, or his 7 baby steps. I'll be explaining to you guys how, if, and why they work. Now, Dave also has a book, and you can purchase this book and go through the steps step by step. If you want, I'll leave a link to a copy of that book in the description below so you can get a copy. But in this video, I'll explain everything. So if you don't want to purchase the book, then you can just watch this video and you'll get all the information just the same. Now, before I get into the actual steps, Dave Ramsey's method is really just trying to get you to see how different your life could be if you were debt-free. So think about this, right? If you had the same income that you have right now from your job or your business or your side hustles, and you were making the exact same amount of money, but you didn't have rent or a mortgage payment, you didn't have a car payment, you had absolutely no credit card debt, you had no personal loans, you had no student loans, and you had absolutely no debt. Don't you think that your life would be a lot different, even though you're making the same amount of money that you're making right now? I think so. Now, this really sounds good, and you may agree that if you were debt-free right now, you'd have a much better life, being able to do a lot more things that you actually want to do with the same amount of money that you're making, because you're debt-free. But becoming debt-free is very intimidating, especially if you have several different types of debt. And this is why Dave Ramsey created the 7 baby steps, and the 7 baby steps have helped hundreds of thousands of people to get themselves out of debt. It actually acts as a starting place where you have all the steps in place, and all you do is just follow the program, no matter how much debt you have or what types of debt you have, and you can use this to get yourself out of debt. Now, I'm going to get into the 7 steps, but right before, just a very quick reminder here. Welcome back to the channel if you're already a subscriber. And if you're new here, my name is Ian, and on this channel, I talk a lot about ways to make money, ways to save money, investing your money, credit cards, banking apps, and everything to do with personal finance. So if you like these types of videos or this content, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. I'll really appreciate it. It helps the channel out a ton. And also consider subscribing to the channel and turning on all the notifications. And that way you'll be able to get the updates every day when I post a new video on this channel. Now, the first step of the 7 steps is to actually create an emergency fund. And Dave Ramsey doesn't just tell you to go and create any emergency fund. The first baby step is to have an emergency fund of $1,000. And some people may find this very intimidating because they don't make a lot of money. They're trying to pay off all this debt, but this is the first step. And so he recommends that you think about all the expenses that you have right now. You create a budget and you get rid of anything that you don't absolutely need to survive. So for example, if you made $3,000 every month and your expenses were $2,900 per month, then some things that you could cut back on are probably going to be like cable TV, which you won't die without having. And this one may be a little more on the extreme side, but you can also reduce your current internet connection speed, and that may help you to save a lot more money, possibly $30 or more. You can also switch your phone plan, which I've done. I've switched to Mint Mobile, where you pay $15 per month, which will save you possibly $25 or $30 when compared to the average phone plan right now, which is somewhere around $60 for a single line. You can also stop impulsive shopping, right? So when you go out and you see things and you see them on discount or on sale, sometimes you don't really need the items, but because it's on clearance sale, you decide to purchase it. And if you completely stop, you can save a lot of money there. You can also cut back on eating out, which is a very high expense. And when you go out and you purchase food, it's not a lot of money when you actually do it day by day, but when you add it up weekly, you're probably overspending by $25, $30, even up to $50 by just purchasing food. So there are a lot of things that you can do to reduce your expenses. And if you're in a lot of debt, then you don't really have any other option if you really want to get rid of the debt and if you want to get the ball rolling, so to speak. So you definitely want to cut back on some expenses, and you want the first $1,000 in an emergency fund. Now, one easy way to cut back on expenses if you don't know where to start is to think about one thing that you do regularly, possibly every single day, that you don't have to do to survive that you can cut back on. Remember, you're trying to get rid of debt here, so you're going to have to go all out, and this is possibly going to be extreme to you because it's new to you, but you have to pull this off. So this could be your morning Starbucks, for example. Maybe you buy Starbucks every morning and it costs you $3.50, or maybe it's you going to the soda machine twice per day or 3 times per day and purchasing a bottle of water 3 times per day at an average cost of around $6 to $9 per day. So while this doesn't sound like a lot of money, if you can find one simple thing that you can do every day that you don't really need, that you can cut that cost, you can actually save this $1,000 in just a few weeks. So for example, if you're the person that goes to the soda machine 3 times per day to purchase bottled water and you're spending, let's say, $6 per day on bottled water, if you were to cut that cost, just bring a reusable water bottle with you and fill up, you'd be saving about $90 on average per month because the average month has around 30 days. That's almost $100 right there from just cutting one simple thing from your daily life. If you were to switch your phone plan or provider or stop purchasing Starbucks or something else that you do right now that you don't need to survive, then you can easily save that $1,000 in 4 to 8 weeks. Now, this baby step is actually very important because you're going to be using almost every cent of your income to go towards paying down your debts. And so you have to get the emergency fund in place because this is what's going to save you in the event that you're spending all your money on paying down your debts and you have any small minor emergencies. Now, year after year after year, research has showed that most Americans, or I think around 60% of Americans, have less than $1,000 saved. And this means that if something were to break on your car, for example, or you have some other minor unexpected expense, you'd have to put that expense on a credit card, and that's definitely not what you want to do when you're paying off debt. Instead, you want to have some money that's on the side so you can easily take care of any unexpected expenses if they pop up while you're focusing on paying down your debt. So this is step number 1. You need to get this emergency fund of $1,000. Now, the second step is to implement the debt snowball method, and I've also covered this in a previous video. And what this means is that you'll be listing all your debts, every single debt that you have, but you'll be listing them in the order of smallest debt to largest debt. So this could be, for instance, credit card debt of $1,000 first, and then personal loan of $3,000, and then a car loan of $25,000. Now, the way this works is that you pay these off in the order of smallest debt to largest debt. So in the example I just gave you, let's say you had $1,000 on a credit card. You have $3,000 on a personal loan, and you have $25,000 on a car note. Now, you could start paying off the smallest debt first because it's the easiest and it's going to make you feel really good at knowing that you paid off that debt. So the goal is to help you see that you can accomplish paying off debt since you are tackling the smallest debt first. Now, here you're going to make the minimum payments on all debts except the smallest debt, and then you're going to put all the money that you can possibly find in your budget towards the smallest debt. So let's say the minimum payment on the smallest debt is $25 per month, and the minimum payments on the personal loan is $100 per month, and the minimum payments on the car loan is $200 per month. In this case, you would make those monthly payments every single month, but if you had an extra $300 per month, then you would apply that $300 to the smallest debt after making the minimum payments. So you would add the entire $300 to the smallest debt, and instead of paying $25 per month towards that credit card loan of $1,000, you would now be paying $325 per month on that debt. This now means that you would pay this debt off in roughly 3 months, give or take $25. Now, this step is also very important because while you're making minimum payments on your loans, usually the minimum payment covers only mostly interest payments, and then just a small amount goes towards the principal. However, when you tack on extra payments, most of those extra payments, or all of it in most cases, goes towards the principal of the loan, which greatly reduces the time to pay that loan off, and you want to concentrate all the money you possibly can at paying these loans off. Now, once you pay off the smallest loan, then you no longer have that minimum payment of $25 per month, and so you'll move on to the next one in line, which is $3,000 in my example. However, remember you had $300 free every month after making your minimum payments on the $1,000 credit card loan, which is now gone. And so you have an extra $25 free every month. So now you can put $325 in extra payments towards that loan of $3,000 in my example. Also, you are making minimum payments on that loan of $100 per month. So now you're still going to make that payment of $100 per month, but you're going to add the $325 to it. So in total, you'll be paying $425 per month on your loan of $3,000. And that way you're going to eliminate this debt in around 3 months. Now, as soon as you pay off this loan, you then move on to the largest loan and you complete the same strategy. And this way you actually get to pay off the loan faster. And this way is not as intimidating as it was before because you're actually making a lot of progress. And this is a proven method of paying off debt. So if you're in debt, if you're in a lot of debt, consider this method as well. Now, this brings us to step number 3 of the baby steps. And this is where you pay off all the debts. And guys, this doesn't include a mortgage, so it's every debt you have that doesn't include a mortgage payment because the usual mortgage term is 30 years, and even if you pay extra, it's still going to take you probably a decade to pay this off. So this is not included here. Now, if you're like me, you can definitely do this with your mortgage if you want to. That's an option, but it's not included here. So the third baby step is to be debt-free. You have paid off the personal loan, the credit card loan, the car loan, any other loans that you have, and now you have all this extra money per month, which you no longer have to put towards paying down on debt. You're now going to take all that money and now you'll be putting it towards a larger emergency fund. So you'll open a high yield savings account and you're going to add more money to your emergency fund. So remember, step number 1 was creating an emergency fund of $1,000 and you still have that $1,000, but now you're going to increase this emergency fund and you're going to make this emergency fund equal to the amount of money you need to survive on for around 3 to 6 months. So if it costs you $3,000 to survive per month just to cover the bare minimum expenses, you want to save between $9,000 and $18,000. So you can use all the extra money you have every single month towards this emergency fund until you have achieved that 3 to 6 months emergency fund. Now, if you're wondering, why would I save so much money in emergency fund and why don't I just keep $1,000? The reason is that you just paid off a lot of debt. It took you a lot of time and you had to sacrifice a lot. You had to cut the Starbucks every day. You had to stop buying soda. You had to stop drinking water from the vending machine. You had to cut your cable off. You had to reduce your internet connection speed from 500 megabits to 10 megabits. You had to switch your phone service to a cheaper phone service, which probably doesn't give you unlimited data. And you had to make all these reductions in your life. So you definitely don't want to get back to this point. You do not want to have to go back into debt and then repeat that cycle. So to prevent this from happening, you need this emergency fund, and this emergency fund is going to take care of any unexpected expenses that pop up. Now, hopefully, no major unexpected expenses will pop up, but let's say, for instance, you have some illness or you injure yourself or you lose your job or something happens to your car and you need $1,000, $3,000, or maybe you need $10,000. If you don't have this emergency fund in place, then the only option you're going to have is to go right back into debt, and then you're going to have to repeat the cycle and you're going to have to start cutting things again from your life to be able to pay this off, and you definitely don't want to start this cycle over again. So this is why this step is very, very important, and this is step number 3. Now, baby step number 4 is planning your retirement. And if you're watching this video and you're saying, well, Ian, I'm 20 years old, I'm 25 years old, or even 30 years old, and I don't need to worry about retirement because that's decades away, then what you don't want to do is you don't want to be one of those people that doesn't really start thinking seriously about retirement until you get to the age of 62 and you only have 3 more years left to work. You want to start contributing to your retirement fund right now, and Dave Ramsey suggests that in this step you contribute 15% of your income to a retirement plan that gives you a tax advantage. So for most people, this would be a 401k plan where you can contribute from your earnings and you don't pay any taxes on that money right now, which allows you to contribute a lot more of your earnings towards the 401k. And also, as a bonus, I personally recommend that you guys get a 401k or that you enroll in your employer's 401k plan if they have one, because most employers will match the amount that you invest in the 401k up to a certain percent. So for example, if you put 3% in your 401k, most employers will add 3%. So if you put $100 in, then they put $100 in. If you put $200 in, they put $200 in, up to a certain percent. And this way you can actually get free money and it's not taxed right now. And that way this money can compound a lot more and can grow to be a lot more money in 10, 20, 30 years from now. You can also create an IRA if you want to save more money every single year towards your retirement. Now, I talked about this before and you can go and do the math for yourself, but if you start investing in a 401k or some other retirement account that gives you, let's say, 10% in returns per year, which is typical, and you put $50 in there per week, which is $200 per month, which is not a lot of money. If you're working for 40 years, when you're 65 years old, you'd have roughly $2 million in that investment account. And this is why it's very important. And this is why you want to start planning your retirement from right now. Now, number 5 is actually for those people who have kids. And step number 5 is that you're going to now create a college fund for your kids. There are plans that you can take advantage of here. They have the College Education Savings Fund, or ESA, and you can also have the 529 College Savings Plan. If you use any of these plans, you'll be getting a tax break, and so you should definitely do this if you have kids. Now, baby step number 7 is paying off your largest debt, or at least I hope this is your largest debt, and this is the house. So you've already taken care of the credit card debt, the personal loans, the student loans, the car loans, and all the other debts that you have. You now have a fully funded emergency fund, so you're good for 3 to 6 months if you were to lose your job or have some emergency. You're also currently taking care of investing in some retirement plan, and if you have kids, you've started to work on creating a fund so that they don't have to go into a lot of debt or any debt when it's time for them to go to college. So at this point in time, you can now start taking all that extra money that you would have used for all these debts and everything else to put towards paying down your house. And this is the largest debt. So this is going to take a while longer than all the other debts, probably a lot longer, but the extra payments that you make will go towards the principal of your mortgage, which is going to save you a lot of money in interest payments. And that way you can cut down the time to pay off your mortgage by 5, 10, or 15 years. Sometimes even a lot more. Now, number 7 is where you have everything paid off. Your house is paid off. You have no car loans, no personal loans, no student loans. And if you have kids, their college fund is taken care of. You're investing in a retirement plan. And at this point in time, you can really get aggressive with your 401k or your IRA and any other retirement savings account that you have. And this way, you can start to build wealth really fast. Now, this is where Dave Ramsey says that you can live like no one else and you can also give like no one else. At this point in time, he suggests that you can invest in real estate or any other investments that you want to get into, and you can do so with cash instead of taking on any debts because you have absolutely no debt. And so if you follow Dave Ramsey's baby steps, step by step, you can become financially free and you wouldn't have to rely on Social Security or active income when you get to 60 or 65 or whenever you retire. You'll have enough wealth to retire and live really well in your retirement years. So these are all the baby steps. These are all 7 of the baby steps from Dave Ramsey. And in my opinion, I think these baby steps are very good. You can follow them to the T and you'll definitely be able to pay off your debt and you'll definitely be able to build wealth for yourself. So I want you guys to comment below and let me know if you like this strategy or if there are things that you don't like about Dave Ramsey's 7 baby steps. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. I hope this video was very helpful. If so, give this video a thumbs up. I'll really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel, turn on all the notifications, and that way you'll be able to get the updates every day when I post a new video here. Also, be sure to check all the links down below in the description for free and helpful stuff, which includes SOFI money, where if you sign up right now, you can get a free hybrid account with no fees, no account maintenance fees, no ATM fees, and you get free cash just for signing up using the link that I left below in the description. Also, be sure to check out WEBULL, where you can get involved in investing or crypto. If you use my link below, you can get 2 free stocks after depositing $100 in your investment account, and those 2 free stocks can be anything valued at up to $1,600. Once again, thanks for watching. All the best, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow in the next one.